this sec there, it's preparing it for the live stream. I just don't want everyone to be speaking. And give me one.
Mayor Ashford, you may open the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And on that note, we will call our meeting of June 9th to order. I'd like to call for the adoption of the agenda.
I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Trahan, that the draft agenda to council and presented to council and dated the 9th day of June 2020 be adopted as circulated.
All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you very much. We will proceed to item 3, accepting the minutes of the previous meeting. And we have 2 sets of meeting minutes, I believe. Pardon me. So, Madam Clerk.
Okay, I require a mover and a seconder. Moved by
Are we doing
Councillor
both
Kelly,
sets at the same
seconded by
time?
Councillor. Yes, I am. Moved by
Okay.
Councillor, seconded by Councillor Lougheed. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held May 26th and the special council meeting held June 4th, 2020 be approved as circulated.
All in favor? Okay, good. Thank you. Carried. Any business arising from the minutes? No, c'est bon. Any declarations of conflict of interest? Any chair's comments? No, we will keep them for our meeting agenda. And no delegations to council. So we will proceed to committee reports. Public Works and Infrastructure. Councillor Trahan, is there anything that you would like to just mention on that topic?
Just the work that we have going on currently in Lake Nosmissing Road as well as Village Road with the paving. The side of the roads are going to be are being completed as this week, and then after that, shortly after, painting. And Miller's got a little more work to do, I believe, and that's coming along quite well. So, and then we have a meeting coming up very soon here, I believe next week. We have a meeting, Public Works meeting on the 15th.
Yeah. Thank you. Any comments or questions of Councillor Trahan? Well, a few people have commented on how nice it is that we've made it wider through the village. And so thank you. Councillor Trahan, I do believe that was part of your initiative in your drive. And I know there was somewhat of an extended shoulder there before, but I believe it's a bit wider. So I think that's being appreciated. So well done on that note. Also today they were adding, I believe, is that the crossing lane at the highway, at the corner of Highway 94? I don't know if Councillor Lougheed, if you went that way this morning, but they were working on the corner of Highway 94 and 17. Was that were they, it's not us, but it was, I believe, the contractor that had done the work. Is that like a walking lane, I believe? Is that what they were adding to cross over the highway? I think that might be what it is. So I think
you're right, Mayor. I think you're right. That's what it is. And just to expand on what you were saying is in our area. Yeah, so we did added just a little more for that walking / bike area for the residents. I know it's a busy area. It's a lot of people enjoy it. They love walking in that area. I know there's a little pathway and so yeah, so it's it benefits the people that want to get out and exercise and use that little extra without trying to be bothered, right, by vehicles.
Well, thank you very much. So let's move on now to Community Emergency Management Meeting. And there was no meeting this week. It was last week. On that note, we do have Chief Lufin and our CAO who are present. And I've also have a few remarks, but I will turn it over to them first for any specific comments related to the meeting that they'd like to make.
I have no further comments, Mayor Rochford.
Okay, Chief Lufin.
No, just the province is starting to open things up for us. So we've looked at our plan to start operations within the municipality again, looking at June 15th to begin opening the municipal office for residents to be able to stop in, of course, with social distancing and recommendations that only one person at a time in the waiting room, and appointments if they have to see staff up at the front.
I'd like to make two comments with respect to the Emergency Management Committee. For me, it's been my first experience to sit on that municipal committee. And I have found it very enriching, and I have found the leadership of our staff exceptional. They are very prepared, and the discussions have been very fruitful. So I really would like to congratulate Chief Lufin, our CAO, and our clerk for the work they're doing at that level. We did also, as you mentioned, Chief Lufin, today that the government has confirmed that they've extended the emergency orders in place until June 19th. I think everyone has seen that, but I simply wanted to mention to council, I know that we have received from the public, and I suspect there are people online that we don't see that are here with us this evening. We have received comments from citizens who've said that how they have appreciated that opportunity to participate. And it's also been good if for any reason you have some work obligations as a councillor or as a member of council, we're able to take the call nonetheless. So certainly many benefits that we've all noted. And so I simply wanted to say that the staff has the matter in hand in terms of when regular council meetings will resume. So for us to not to have to worry about it, they will let us know. And so that's proceeding well. One of the things that was mentioned in the communication that went out today from the province is that they are reopening childcare centers starting on June 26th. And they also mentioned that they're still waiting to provide further information on summer camps. And I mentioned that because that was a big topic of discussion at our last Emergency Management Committee meeting, whether or not we would proceed with their summer camps. And the long and the short of it is that for us, it's the YMCA that's organizing our summer camps. So we were going to leave things with them. They were going to be the ones that determined to some extent what we were going to be doing. But at the same time, I do believe that our public library is proceeding with some various plans. So stay tuned. I think it's in this next week that we will know further what's going to happen at that level. We did receive, council members, I just wanted to mention that today we received from Minister Greg Rickford a survey. They're asking us to provide input on what are some of the things that we would like to see proceed from a municipal perspective, so that they're seeking our input for the issue of job readiness and economic recovery. So I sent it to our clerk, who's going to include it in our weekend package when we do work over the weekend to review. And so it will be with the weekend, the weekend report. And so if you could take a look at that, and if you have any input that you'd like to provide, it would be great to receive it because early next week, because this is due on, I think June 19th is Thursday of next week, or maybe Friday, but it's due next week. So we won't have a council meeting prior to that. Okay, so we will, so any questions of the Community Emergency Management Group? It will continue to meet, at least at this point. We envisage having another meeting until we believe the situation calls for canceling the meeting. So Chief Lufin is in charge of that. So we leave that with him. We'll now proceed then to Fire and Emergency Services. Any comments by anyone there? Planning Advisory Committee, there's a meeting that's coming up next week, the 17th. A Committee of Adjustment. Do we know, Mr. CEO, whether or not that's going forward?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Mayor Rochford?
Yes, whether the meetings for planning and the Committee of Adjustment, whether they are going forward on June 17th?
Yes, both are a go.
Okay. Recreation, Parks and Culture. Councillor Kelly, any comments to make?
The last I've heard, I'm going to touch base with Tammy, our coordinator, but the last I heard, we were supposed to have a virtual meeting on the 23rd of June.
That's
I think
correct.
that's gonna go, as far as I
Yes.
know, and we'll be providing our members with an agenda before the meeting.
Very good.
Okay.
I also noted the communique that went out inviting the public to provide names for the Sports Recognition Award. And the closing is it comes fast, eh? It seems that we just did it. And we already have to start thinking for next year. And I think it's due this year at the end of August. Is that correct, Councillor Kelly?
Yes, Mayor, it is. Yes, that's correct. Yep, and you're right. We've already started summer. We're almost halfway through June.
And the young lady that had Madame Sauvé, who had been a recipient last year, I don't know if you saw the posting where it said that she's now doing an international competition where she runs in her house. So I think we had selected a good recipient is what I'm saying.
Well, she's ran in some of the darkest corners of the world. So if I was her, I'd be running in the house too.
We come to economic development, and there's a meeting as well next week. Councillor Tran, do you want to make a comment?
Another thing we've added on our list, we've working on a couple things, is the new provincial announcement for rural remote broadband. So we're going to be bringing that up there. We got some information come forward. We had one of our committee members found some information and gathered some more information. So we're going to be looking at that and seeing what we can do for our community. And if there's some letters or correspondence that needs to be pushed, then we'll be going ahead with that. So we'll be bringing it to a group discussion, and hopefully I'll have some more information to come back to council after that.
C'est bon. Thank you very much, Councillor Zan. As well, there was the communique seeking community input for the farmers market, and there was a good article in the paper. Yeah.
So that's on our agenda also, and yeah. So once we get everybody together and get some ideas together and see what we're going to do to move forward for down the future.
Any comments or questions of Councillor Tlan? Good. We'll move to the Communications Committee, and there we have some minutes as well. And so we turn it over to you, Councillor Loughy.
Hi, everyone. Yes, thank you. We had our meeting May 28th, and it was a really great meeting because we had some exciting things that were starting to come up with the website update. Looks like it's going to be our new website. Hopefully will be all ready to go sometime this June. And then, you know, the survey for the additional strategic plan, the update going out to citizens to contribute their information again, the information was released on the bulletin, the recent bulletin. I don't know if that's been hit people's mailboxes yet. Can someone confirm? Not yet, right? Okay. So, but that's coming out, and that will have further instruction on how to participate. Looking forward to that. We discussed the municipal office build communications plan, ensuring that all residents are aware and on board and excited about the next steps. One thing that was brought up that I think is pretty pertinent and important is now that we have more interested parties watching the video communications of these council meetings, it's definitely brought deeper interest in the process, and which I love. However, I think that there's been some places where misinformation has has happened, or maybe just not a larger understanding about how the process works. So we're going to be working on finding ways to look at did you know, or further communication about municipal governance, so that everyone can also learn at the same time as we proceed with these virtual meetings. And then the last note would be our clerk has let us know that they're working on getting our integrity commissioner, David King, to make a presentation to council, ask some questions, and maybe just touch base again on if any of us have any questions. That's it for me.
Very good. Any comments or questions of Councillor Lougheed? C'est bon. It's true, it was a good meeting. I enjoyed. When is the next one? Oh, June 22nd. Okay. The East Ferris Centennial celebration, the work on the book, Correspondence, Our Home, Notre Chez Nous, with these chapters pertaining to the municipality's Centennial, is just about finished in its English format, and then it needs to be translated. There's still a lot of work to be done, but there's been so much great involvement by our communities, people sending in photos, articles. It's just been a very rewarding exercise, and so that is just it's just good. So it is proceeding, and I'm hoping that Councillor Trahanda will be able to have in at some point. We will be able to meet with our committee. We're not able to do that by Zoom with them, so we'll have to do it in person once we're able to reconvene. But we do have an application that is proceeding, and our CAO has indicated that it is advancing, and so we're hopeful that there will be success with that particular application. The municipal office project as well is advancing. And soon we should have the presentation by our architect, and so that as well is coming forward. Board reports. So we go to the library board, and that's been a busy board. So we turn it over to you, Councillor Lougheed.
Thank you. The library board, I mean, since there's been new restrictions lifted, but what really has been happening is the CEO and the board have been working hard at trying to ensure that we're adapting as these restrictions lift, and safety too, considering that, the size, space, and scope of our library. How can we ensure that it continues to be an active resource and a safe place for families to come? So that's, a very large ongoing conversation. The one, well, another thing to note is, as we're all, getting better with this virtual stuff, we've been discussing on better ways to formalize how we store some of our common documents, and looking at how we can be even more effective as a team. The one really good piece of news that I'm quite excited about is that we did get charitable status for the library.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yay, that's very good. Yeah.
There's going to be a learning curve there, which I'm happy to help with, and I know Jason's happy to help with too. But there are some pretty strict rules when it comes to CRA guidelines. But this means that people can donate to our library and get a charitable tax receipt, which is a great incentive for people to support our library. And then also, that really allows that lead team that does some incredible work to take it to the next level. So that's great news for sure. Yeah. And other than that, just some general document upkeep and keeping things moving. But, that's, and, policy amendments and adaptions. But other than that, that's pretty much the biggest news I've got from the library work.
Any questions or comments of Councillor Lougheed? Okay, we move to Police Services Board. A few items. I participated online in the 2020 Annual General Meeting of the Ontario Association of Police Services Boards, and it went very well. There was 165 participants, and so we are in Ontario, there's, I guess there's 14 different zones, if I add them all up. And we are zone 1A. And you may all know that, Councillor today, I apologize, but just to share the information. And so our representative in zone 8 is Doug Jelly, who's from Temiskaming Shores Police Services Board. But as part of the meeting, there was a lot of different things discussed, but one of the items that I thought was maybe significant for our Police Services Board, and Madam Clerk, we are meeting on Thursday, our board. And so this is an item that we will be bringing forward. They passed a motion, and I'll just touch on it briefly. They're requesting statistics overall from an Ontario Police Services Board perspective. They want to verify the number of officers that are actually working. There's a concern that there's a lack of Ontario provincial police, that they're having difficulty recruiting, and that and so as municipalities pay, it's a contract, right? They are owed a certain level of service, and that level of service in some areas is not forthcoming in the manner that it should, because there's a lack of personnel, is what the underlying issue is. So so I think it's a legitimate issue, and so they brought it forward in a motion for the Police Services Board to gather data and to analyze it, and to see what next steps should follow. And so for us, Thursday, we have our Police Services Board, and soon we're going to be resuming our work on our plan, which we had postponed during the COVID lockdown. But now that we'll be resuming our meetings, we're going to be re-examining that. So before I do have something else. We received a letter today, and we've been asked to read it and to share it with the public. And so I'm going to ask if we can maybe post it on our Facebook, but I would like, in the spirit of that it's been presented to us, I'd like to read it to council with your permission, if you don't mind. It comes from Thomas Carrick, I don't know if I pronounced that name right, who is the commissioner in charge of the Ontario Provincial Police for Ontario. And he wrote the following: the unjustified and criminal acts that led to the death of Mr. George Floyd have caused the public to question its trust and confidence in our profession. There are members within the Ontario Provincial Police and the communities we provide policing services to who are hurting and feeling frustrated and outraged. It is important for us as an organization to have the courage to openly discuss these types of incidents in a respectful, compassionate, and professional manner. It has become clear that in order to maintain the trust and confidence of our communities and in support of our members, we must not only speak out against racist behavior, but listen to what Ontarians are telling us and ensure that our actions align with our words by exemplifying our values of interacting with respect, compassion, and fairness, something I believe our members do every day. Over the course of the last few days, we have witnessed anti-racism demonstrations expanding from urban centers to jurisdictions policed by the OPP, and we are reminded of our responsibility and duty to respect the right of everyone to freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. Our role is to ensure public safety and to keep the peace. In many of these instances, the OPP provincial liaison team will work with groups to provide a safe and peaceful opportunity for demonstrators to exercise their constitutional rights. This is a unique time in which the rights of freedom of expression and movement must be considered against the current public health recommendations of physical distancing and the emergency orders in the province. Our primary duty is to preserve the peace, maintain public safety, and investigate unlawful activity. Members should use their discretion and judgment to consider all circumstances and balance it against the rights of the public to peacefully demonstrate. And I conclude, in closing, I wish to reiterate again that racism and racial discrimination have no place in policing. The event that occurred in Minneapolis with George Floyd was unconscionable, and unacceptable. There should never be any doubt that the OPP stands only for our values and equal respect for all. This is an opportunity to be mindful of our biases and work towards a truly inclusive, authentic workplace and community with equal freedoms and treatment for all. So I don't know if it's if everyone would be in agreement, but I thought in the spirit of what's been asked of us that we share it with the public. So I thought we could post it on Facebook if that's an appropriate spot for it.
Sorry,
Jason?
Mayor Rochford. I can check our social media policy just to see. But just because I hadn't had the letter in advance, I would have to go through it just to make sure we're following policy.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
And if it's council's wish that it's on Facebook.
I see, is there a comment? Is that Councillor Lougheed and Councillor Kelly? Okay, Councillor Kelly and Councillor Lougheed, I think that's the order in which I saw the hands. Was your hand up, Councillor Kelly?
It was,
Oh,
yes.
It was, okay.
I'd like it posted, definitely. I think it's an important message, and I think it shows to the character of our OPP. You know, and I think openness is always a great attribute. And quite frankly, it is council's, in my opinion, it's always been our attitude that equality first. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lougheed? Can you hear me?
Forgive me, sorry, I'm trying to balance the echo so I had the volume low. I think, you know, again, if there's a chance to maybe get, I don't know if we're gonna plan to get that on record somehow. Do we get, if it's stated or if it's sent to us, but if we can maybe add it to the minutes, that'd be great. The other thing is that I think there's a balance here that we're maybe not addressing, is maybe a statement from ourselves as a council, and how, you know, although we're a rural, more remote northern community, and we don't think that these issues pertain to us, they very much do. And how do we as a group, you know, move forward and become part of the solution? Because it's, you know, it's easy to just accept the one statement and that's it. But I do think we need to put some effort behind it. We don't have to do it right now, but I am thinking that it would be best to address that part too.
Okay. Councillor Tran, and you don't have to comment. I was just want to say we appreciate you, Councillor Tran.
Thank you. Appreciate that. No, I agree with that, Councillor Kelly and Lougheed. Absolutely should be on our, if it passes the our SOPs, and absolutely should go on our website. And again, Erica's right. We should, you know, also respect also for our residents, and absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that.
But thank you. We'll leave that with our CAO and we'll come back to that. So thank you very much. That concludes my Police Services Board report, unless there's any questions or comments. Okay. Then we go to departmental reports, and none for this session. Notice of motions, none for this session. To our bylaws. Madam Clerk, we turn it over to you for bylaw number 2020-17 that we are doing the third reading of this evening.
I require a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Lougheed, seconded by Councillor Trahan. That bylaw number 2020-17, being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of council, local boards and committees of either, the conduct of its members, the calling of the meetings, and to establish rules of order, be read a third time and passed this 9th day of June 2020, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
All in favor? Okay, good, thank you. Passed. We now move to bylaw number 2020-18 for third reading. Madam Clerk?
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Trahan. That bylaw number 2020-18 being a bylaw to provide for the regulation of open air burning in the municipality of East Ferris be read a third time and passed this 9th day of June 2020, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
All in favor? Thank you. Passed. And now we come to the first and second reading. And so basically just wanted, before we move on, thank you, Chief Lufin, for all your work with the open air burning bylaw. So that's well done. And we come to item C, bylaw 2020, number 20. Well, that's quite a few 20s, see? 2020.
Mayor Rushford, this bylaw is first, second, and third reading. It pertains
okay.
to,
Sorry, yeah.
yes, it pertains to a sale of municipal surplus land that was started in 2017. So everything has been accomplished with it. Everything is completed. We just need the bylaw to close the file. So this is why we're having a first and second and third reading, and it was all approved in 2017 to pursue. So I require a mover. Councillor Kelly and Councillor Trahan. Whereas council,
Okay.
pardon?
No, go, please read. Yes,
Okay.
I'll make my comment after.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Trahan. Whereas council for the municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to close and convey a part of the original shore road allowance described as part of the original shore road allowance along the shore of Kitten Mink Lake in front of and adjacent to part of Lot 9, Concession 1, lying southwest of Part 3 and 4, 36R10032, Township of East Ferris, District of Nipissing, be read a first, second, and third time passed and numbered 2020-20, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
All in favor? Thank you. I was simply going to say, I never knew that the lake was called Kitten Mink. We always call it Mink Lake.
Mink Lake.
And so for me, that was kind of new. I thought that's a mistake. Okay, so thank you, c'est bon. Okay, so we'll move on now to correspondence. And so on that note, Councillor Trahan, any items that you would like to raise?
Not this.
Councillor Kelly?
Just wanted to, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the broadband and the infrastructure comes up all the time. It's one of the main pushers. It's first and second on Phenom's list. And if anything, we've mentioned it before. I just want to pass on to the minister. Thank you for bringing it up because it's federal. And I think Councillor Lowe, he brought up the fact that a lot of times it's the infrastructure that has not kept pace with technology, and it's because it's a cost item. But this pandemic has really underlined the fact that a lot of people can work from home. It would save costs for a lot of enterprises because people can work from home only if they're connected. So anyway, as I say, but that's the only thing I did mention. That maybe just congratulations to the minister on pushing it forward. Thank you.
C'est bon. Councillor Lougheed?
Thank you. I would like, echo Councillor Kelly on the broadband. I have the best internet in East Ferris, and I had to run down to the municipal office because I couldn't connect. So that's just one small piece of the puzzle, but connectivity, education, everything, it's incredibly important. So the more we can push that, the better. The one thing I was wondering if we can discuss, I'm in support of Essential Workers Day, by the way, City of Brantford. I would like to support that resolution. So I don't know what everyone else thinks, but Essential Workers Day, you okay with that? do we have to have
She'll bring it back next week or next in 2 weeks.
an action item? Yeah, I'd like to make an action item for that if we're all on board. And then if maybe the Sustainable Affordable Housing new program release, I read over it about retrofitting old buildings. Did any of you, or maybe Jason, do you see a fit with that in our municipality?
If I may, Councillor Law, I'm going to comment on that. I did prepare some notes because at our last meeting, I kept on saying, Jason, did you see that? So I went and looked at it and I read everything, and I'd like to make comments if I may, just on that level. Yeah.
Yeah, please. So that I just wanted to bring it up. So that's all I have for notes on the correspondence. I'll leave it to you.
I just want to come back just for Councillor Tanaha for the meeting for the economic development. We see today here the letter from Steve Clark, but there was also letters that were sent by Minister Scott and Minister Leckie to the federal government. And they've actually been quite active on social media as well, the ministers, in seeking the support of the federal government. So what they want, they definitely want the federal government to, what do you call that, when they piggyback with the announcement that they've made of 150 million. So the other thing we've done as a municipality is we've reached out to our local school board. So we have communicated with Conseil Scolaire Catholique Franco-Nord and with the Near North School Board, and we have forwarded to them the letters of Minister Clark to make sure, because I don't think they necessarily see this correspondence. They probably would have seen Minister Leckie's correspondence. So we made sure that they were recipients of it. And we also made sure that they're aware that we in East Ferris have a shovel-ready project so that they can raise that issue within their Ministry of Education so that our area becomes more important or acute in terms of needs. So that certainly is something that is going on. I also wanted just to mention another item. We will recall that we wrote to a number of ministers. We did write to the Minister of Industry. We wrote to you, and we saw that our letter to the Minister Monsef, who is responsible for rural economic development. I simply wanted to advise Council that our Member of Parliament has had direct conversations with these people on with respect to the application that is in on behalf of Blue Sky Net and Nipissing District. So basically they have confirmed to the municipality that they've had these discussions, and they've also provided us with names of people to contact at the CRTC. But what I wanted to just touch upon in the communique that was sent to us by Susan Church as well, that's in that part of the correspondence, there's a couple of things that's going to be coming back to us, and Councillor Tanaha, part of the Economic Development Committee, there's maybe something there if you could examine with them. Assuming that the Universal Broadband Fund comes back, like there's applications we're going to have to make. So they're going to be seeking more speed tests. And we certainly know that we were a leading area when it came to speed tests. One item I always forget to mention, we would not have been eligible as an area to apply to the CRTC had it not been for Blue Sky Net that had advocated to allow speed tests. It's on the basis of speed tests that we were able to submit that application to the CRTC. Now with these funds, the way they were being prepared last year, like that's not necessarily a new announcement at the provincial level, there was also concerns of eligibility. So again here, these tests are going to be important to us because we don't know exactly what will be all the rules and the regulations and whether we will be fully eligible. So we will need to engage in a strategy of getting our citizens to do tests. And I say that because there's now as well a new site. You'll note in Susan Church's email to all of the municipalities, she refers to CIRA. And I actually had to go look because I didn't know what it was. And it's the Canadian Internet Registration Authority. And so basically they're the ones that manage the domain for .ca in Canada. But the thing is too, they're now overseeing speed tests in Canada. So they're going to be joining with Blue Sky Net. And so it's going to be a new place for us. It's through Connect North. So these tests we're going to have to continue to do, in other words. And that information will allow the information to flow more quickly to Industry Canada, so that when they refer to ISED, that's Industry, Science, and Economic Development. So basically, those are the acronyms that are in that email. And so
Did
it's
they-
all, yeah.
Did they say anything if Northern Ontario is going to be first to look at first?
No,
Our area, because, and that's where there's a lot of I think there's
Yeah.
some misinformation there.
so
And
even, for example, if you,
go ahead.
sorry, Councillor Chan, even on that note, if you clearly read Councillor Clark, or I hope this is appropriate to say online, but Minister Clark's letter, he came after Minister Scott and Minister Leckie. In other words, he's advocating for his part of the world, which is Southern and Eastern Ontario. So and frankly, I should share with you that, like last week, there was an article in the Star, Toronto Star, about EON, Eastern Ontario, and the advocacy that they're doing for, I think it's like a substantial amount of money. So I forwarded that on to our committee, and I said, we also have to, we have to be smart in our advocacy. And so I say all that we can empower and engage in advocacy and support of this initiative, I think it's certainly a good thing. So a good question, Councillor Trajano. The work is we're not out of the woods yet, but I would say that our MPP, on that note, has worked hard to say that they've had their turn, it's our turn. I mean, it's come across in the public, in the newspaper. That's, if you read the article that was in the North Bay Nugget, that's more or less how it was positioned. So I think there's certainly some good work that's been done to say there is maybe not a greater need, because all needs are important, but maybe this is the time for our area.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of municipalities, townships really put a hard push on. I spoke with some people up in this area too, and that's what we're worried about is again, we're going to be taking a back seat, right? So we don't want to be taking that back seat. We want the first seat, the front seat, and we're going to try and push forward to be first. So anyway, we're going to try anyway. So
that's exactly our message. The reason, like, so for today, so for example, today I had a call with the staff from the ministry, Madame Monsef's office. And this is exactly my point, is we did all our work, we were on time, and now that the extension has been provided, there's going to be a lot more applicants, and so we're going to be lost in the crowd, or we're potentially going to take a back seat. So that's certainly not what we want. And so the calls that we're going to be making to the CRTC and to Industry Canada are with that particular message in mind, that we were there, we've done the work, we've got a valid case, don't leave us behind. So whatever advice you have, certainly I think, and all the work that we can do at an Economic Development Committee level, I think is wonderful.
Well, I got a couple people on my committee I'd like to sick them on.
Oh, yeah, we have smart people, and so let's, yeah.
So I'd like to, we'll see what happens.
Just Councillor Loughy, sorry, yeah, I was going to go to sustainable housing.
No, I missed something. So when you're done, can we circle back to me?
Oh, well, why don't we circle to you right now?
Oh, I just didn't want to forget, and I didn't want us to move on, but I was noted that, so I put in a resolution, AMO had a call out for board of directors, and I thought that I wanted to put my name forward with the support of council to be a northern rep. So I have to bring this up under communication to bring the resolution forward. I'd like your support if you guys are okay, because I think that would be a good opportunity for one of us to get in. I know that Councillor Kelly's doing great things for the north, and different areas that we're all taking part in, but with your support, I would really appreciate the opportunity to represent our municipality in Northern Ontario.
Oh, so absolutely. So it's in the under AMO communications. That's what you're referring to. I was looking for communications.
Yeah, the AMO, letter D, call for nominations.
Yes, correct. Okay. So, Madam Clerk, do we need to do that tonight because of timelines?
Yes, we do, Mayor Rutschford. I have a resolution prepared in
Okay.
action items if
Yeah.
council is going to go that route, because I believe the application deadline is June
Yeah.
26th, 26th or 30th. So we have to get it ready because there is an application format that Councillor Lougheed does have to complete as well with a certified resolution.
Okay. So do we do that right now, or do you want to?
We can do it in action items. It's listed in action items, and that's where
Okay.
it's going to be passed.
Okay, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see that. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, so coming back then just quickly to sustainable, affordable housing. I just prepared a few notes. If it's appropriate with you, appreciate your patience. I simply, it's a new program and it came through the FCM, just general information. And so we, it wasn't singled out. But in our strategic plan, 3 areas, 2019, sorry, Mr. CEO, I'm just referring to the years in our strategic plan that we said we would have certain items, that we would be working on certain items. So in 2019, we had said that we would look to utilize the community improvement plan to promote the development of vacant commercial properties. And for 2021, which is next year, we had said we would create a strategy on how to improve our existing village cores as community hubs focused on social connectedness. And then for 2022, we had said that we would look to promote affordable housing and senior services through the development of various policies and programs. And so I share that with us because there's different elements in our strategic plan that touch on this. So while we certainly have a lot on the go right now, and I'm very mindful of that, and I want to be very respectful of the dates when we said 2021 and 2022, so basically by bringing this forward tonight, it's a thought of, could we take a bite-sized piece? It's like, the cheese strategy, you take one little bite, but you don't try to take to tackle it all at once. But quickly, just an écouter as well, I wanted to congratulate the staff because I went through the strategic plan tonight in preparing just these comments. There's a lot of items that have been ticked off. It's just very good. It's just wonderful on that note. But so this is a new $300 million initiative offer that supports local affordable housing providers. And so it includes in there municipalities, not-for-profit organizations. So for example, Seniors Villa in our community is a not-for-profit organization. It can also support housing co-ops. And so I'm not sure, for example, could DSAB be an organization on our behalf, because they are a municipal organization to some extent. Could it be Seniors Villa, a private sector company? Could it be a tripartite, like the public, ourselves, a municipality with a private sector company and a not-for-profit Seniors Villa? So what I'm suggesting is that there could be lots of models as we examine what we do with this and how we position it. Personally, I believe that it should not be the municipality itself, because we are currently applying to the Green Municipal Fund for funding for our fire hall in our new municipal office. And that is, and so my own views in the world is that it's never good to go back to the same organization for funding. I think it's important to be varied. And so potentially there's, but that's just a comment. And these are my observations and comments. But certainly as was mentioned, the funding is for the opportunity to retrofit an existing unit, or to construct a new energy efficient building that emits lower greenhouse gas emissions. There's 5 funding options. You can start simply by planning. You can engage in further studies. You can engage in pilot projects, but certainly retrofitting capital is a capital project, as a capital project is eligible, and new building for capital projects is also eligible. There are 2 main eligibility criteria. The first one is required affordability thresholds. So 30% of the units are less than 80% of the local median market rent. This must be maintained for the duration of the loan repayment period with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. And so that is how Seniors Villa operate. That's a public fact, publicly known. So in our community, they operate at a threshold of market rent. So at 30%, so basically that as we look at various projects in our community, I do believe the project on Marshall Park is a mixed building where they have units that are at market rent, and they have others that are at affordable rents. So that is basically the type of project that could be envisaged under this particular program. So I will put this forward, even though some may say that it's confidential information, but it's not, because we know that the old school, for example, we'll take the vacant property. There had been town halls organized where the public had said, we see this building as being a building where it would be a great spot to keep our seniors in our community, is how it had been discussed. There had also been the idea of, could it be for townhouses for young families, because given the proximity of the school and the arena and so on. So for example, that school, it's now purchased, but it's a known fact that its heating system is oil. I mean, so you could easily meet the targets here that are being asked. They're asking that the building that you're looking at retrofitting has to have an improvement of 25%. So with an oil conversion, that could easily be done. They can provide up to 80% of eligible costs, up to a maximum combined financing of 10 million. So for example, this could be a project with DSAB funding that could also be brought to a table. So this is just a public discussion here of various scenarios as we look at this particular program, how it could be used, how it could develop. Grants, there's a grant component that up to 50% of total financing. And one element I wasn't sure of, if you're in northern, in the north is defined according to StatsCan, and I couldn't find the definition if we fit in the north, but if we would, you could even get a greater eligibility for grant components and funding components. Anyway, my thoughts were on this, and I don't want to propose anything tonight except to put it forward, provide the information, because I always believe it takes money to make the world go round and to start certain initiatives, and it's not easy to come by money to do community programs. So for me, I find this is of interest. It is a pocket of funding that could fit our situation, and it could mean a simple step, a planning grant, okay, where we could apply for a planning grant that would allow us to get 80% of eligible costs covered. We can get up to a maximum of $25,000, or we could apply on behalf of somebody else, or it could be with, as I mentioned, different scenarios that could evolve in our community. And this grant is intended just to support the basic initial planning phase. There's a lot of things, the needs assessment, the financial assessment, the stakeholder engagement, how do we engage various stakeholders in the project, property valuation, and you can go on and read as Councillor Lougheed, you did. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the planning grant. You can basically plan your project, and there's no obligation to pursue it step 2 necessarily. It's a planning grant, and so it's to allow you to examine, to consider. So I say there's that out there that has come forward, and I simply wanted to explore it. And at some point in the near future, when our CEO feels that it is appropriate, I think it's a discussion we might want to engage in further, which is a strategy. For me, it's a strategy of what we do with our vacant properties. I know I come at it from that perspective, but it could be from, as well, from an affordable housing perspective. Thank you.
Is there a resolution?
No, that's what I didn't want to put one forward tonight unless council felt that it was appropriate to put one forward now. I just wasn't sure that if the timing was right for that.
Mayor Rocher, I'm actually not sure exactly what you want to do with it. I guess is if there's something you want staff to do, then we need some kind of direction, I guess, with this.
I'm simply bringing it up tonight for information purposes.
Okay. Did we lose people?
No, I'm just looking at their faces.
Oh, we're still here.
Councillor Kelly.
Yes, I'll be passing that on to
Councillor
DSAB.
Kelly.
Thank you. I'll be passing it on to DSAB in North Bay, which take care of our area. See if there's any application involved for any of the endeavors that we're looking forward to in the near future. Now, usually they stay on top of the grant system, and but I definitely pass it on, because you mentioned Eastern Ontario, and we had a presentation at council about 8 years ago, and Eastern Ontario is leapfrogging ahead of Southern Ontario and certainly the North when it comes to interconnectivity, because they've got a lot of federal and provincial funding in the last 15 years. So it's important to get our foot in the door as fast as we can. So I'll be passing that on. They're usually on top of it, but it doesn't hurt to give them a little push. Thank you.
Bon. So Councillor Lougheed, does that provide the information that you were seeking?
Yeah, I think that we, I don't know, this is a big conversation. I feel like this requires some, a little bit more strategy and thought for sure. And I don't know if, you know, this, maybe Councillor Kelly can help me understand this a little bit more, but whether or not our strategy is actually what's, you know, what we're hoping for, like a feasibility study of what the needs are in East Ferris. Like I'm not 100% confident that we, other than our feelings, know what we want, but what does the community need for social housing? But I do think that this is a much larger conversation than a communication piece in the agenda. It feels like it anyway.
So Councillor Kelly, yes, please proceed.
Just a comment for Councillor Lougheed. The problem with the rural community, not a problem, but it's in transit. The fact is we don't have a transit system. And when it comes to affordable housing, if you don't have a transit system, people don't have the availability. Sometimes car is unaffordable. So for transportation for work or services, and services are not, we don't have a lot of services provided in our municipality, and it makes it's not practical in some cases. And I agree, affordable housing is a major issue. It's a major issue everywhere, and that's why a lot of the issues get centered around the cities, and that doesn't matter where you are. And the country sort of takes they're in a tough spot without transit. And now, I mean, in the north, we've even had trouble getting regular bus service on the highways. So for a small rural community, it makes it very difficult. Thank you.
So to conclude, so for me tonight, I bring it up for information purposes with the idea, because it's in our strategic plan, that we are going to have to look at a strategy, that we will be bringing it back for further discussion. And so it's for us to start thinking about the topic. And as I say, to the point that was just made, all our seniors villa in East Ferris are affordable housing projects, 100%. Okay, so we have 2 units, 2 projects, one on Catherine Street, one on Edmund Road, and one in Corbeil. They are all affordable housing projects that are as described here. So for consideration. Okay, so thank you. On that note, we proceed to action items.
Okay, Mayor Rushford, just to recap, for as far as bringing back for action items, we have item B, City of Brantford.
Wait.
And we will be dealing with the AMO, the call for nomination this evening. So that's what I have right now. Item F, the sustainable affordable housing, that was for information purposes only for this evening. So we only have 2 items to bring forward.
Wait.
Okay. So I require a mover and a seconder for the correspondence and information. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Lougheed. The council acknowledged the correspondence and information as circulated with the agenda and dated the 9th of June, 2020.
All in favor? C'est bon? Okay, thank you. Move to the resolution.
Okay. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Trahan and Councillor Kelly. The Council for the Municipality of East Ferris hereby nominates Councillor Lougheed as a director for the Rural Caucus for the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, for the 2020-2022 term of the AMO Board of Directors.
All in favor? Yes, okay, thank you. Carrie? Keep us posted, Councillor Lougheed. So that's, that is at the AGM that we will be voting for that in August. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Wait.
It's usually at the annual conference.
Approval of accounts payable.
I require a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Trahan. That council approve the general accounts for the municipality of East Ferris as indicated in the check register dated June 9, 2020, in the amount of $228,777.13.
All in favor? C'est bon. Other business?
There's none.
In camera?
Jason and I have nothing for in-camera session unless there's council members that require.
Councillor Kelly?
Oh, he's
You're on.
mute.
Pardon me. I have two requests to go. I have a request to go in camera for two different issues, both to deal with real estate.
It's a good topic. Wait, Councillor Lougheed?
Yes, I have a request for identifiable individuals. That clause, please. Thank you.
I require a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Lougheed. That this meeting proceeds to in-camera session at 7:02 p.m. under Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 in order to address a matter pertaining to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board.
Okay. All in favor?